Good afternoon, everyone. It is November 8th, 2018. As I said in my previous video, or asked rather, in my previous video, how long will it be until they start talking gun control over, I believe it was last night's shooting. So, my question was answered. It took about 12 hours, maybe less. Confirming the new Democrat-controlled House will press for major change in U.S. gun laws following the latest mass shooting, which took place overnight in Thousand Oaks, California, that left at least 13 people, including the shooter, dead. The incoming House Judiciary Committee chairman, Democrat Jerry Nadler, said on Twitter that he will immediately get to work on legislation that includes universal background checks to respond to the scourge of gun violence. He also described the shooting as senseless and preventable. This is his tweet. "We must find a way to stop the senseless and many times preventable killings that are robbing our country of innocent lives. In the new Congress, we will immediately get to work on legislation that includes universal background checks to respond to the scourge of gun violence." Now, I'm going to tell you right now, there's hundreds of millions of guns in this country, and a lot of them aren't even registered, a lot of them aren't accounted for, and there is no way possible to get rid of gun violence except through no, there's just no way to get rid of it. It is a part of our culture. Guns are a part of our culture, and one of the ways you can reduce it is by not politicizing all of these events as they do. Now, while everyone's so concerned about civilian gun violence, we have instances of police misusing their weapons as well. I don't hear these congressmen talking about taking the weapons away from police when they are one of the major groups that misuse their weapons. For example, police ignore parents after video showed them execute their unarmed son, shooting him in the head. He was unarmed. There's never a good reason to kill an unarmed person. Never. But here we are, and the people our nation depends on to keep them safe, the people, they commit murders every day, it seems like, using a gun. Now, you might recall a few months back I did a video on this instance right here where the cop, and he was freaking out, he was crazed like they described, was choking a young man. It's not he who goes to trial, though. It is the person he was choking. You want to reduce gun violence, you can start there. You see, here in America, we have a government that's extremely violent. Extremely violent. We overthrow other governments, or they do. We start wars across the globe. We support regimes like the Israelis and the Saudis who are extremely violent. What do they expect? Do you think our government is going to be violent and then the people are not going to be? No. No. If you want violence to stop, it starts with the top. It starts with the top people. But this will never happen because supposedly It's okay for police to shoot unarmed men and women. It's okay for police to freak out and choke individuals. It's okay in this country for the so-called authorities to commit these crimes while the rest of America clamors for gun control and is afraid of violence. You should be more afraid of governmental violence than individual individual violence, because, well, the government has this veneer of legitimacy, which it's not. Their violence is no more legitimate than the shooter of last night's event. Now, he is a 28-year-old who had contact with police previously for because he was irate or something like that. Let me find where that is here. I wasn't even going to mention it, but since I'm on the subject, I will. And we got more shit to talk about. No, where'd it go? Oh, yeah. That's where it went. No, that's not the one. Well, I had one up. I don't know what happened to it, but it is a white guy, by the way. So, get ready for that. Get ready for whites to be blamed for every piece of gun violence out there. I think it was here, actually. Yes. Police met with irate, irrational SoCal mass shooter in April. Didn't feel he warranted a cyclone. So, you know. And by the way, if you're smart, you will not buy a gun from a store. You will find it off in the black market, because then the government has no way of knowing that you have that weapon. If you're smart, you will disobey any unjust law. If you're smart, you will not support these murdering motherfuckers anymore. I mean, it's no wonder we have such a violent nation. We have a violent government. What do you think is going to happen? All these people need to be done away with. All of them. All the way from the Clintons to this fucking puke of a person, Justice Ginsburg, to each and every member of Congress. They need to be gone. I mean, look at this woman. She's very fuckable, but she's dumb as bricks. She's puzzled on how paying for free college and Medicare for everyone would be a problem. How did she get elected? George Soros partners with MasterCard to hand out money to migrants. Retail apocalypse continues. Here are Lowe's stores closing soon. So, you know, the economy isn't what Mr. Trump claims it is, and the more desperate people are going to get, the worse the violence is going to be. You might have heard by now that Jeff Sessions was fired as the Attorney General. And, of course, it's not people on the right freaking out about this. It is people on the left. They're planning a huge protest regarding the firing of Jeff Sessions, an individual who is completely opposite of their ideology. What sense does that make? Record inventory floods Seattle, sends home prices significantly lower. It's about fucking time. I mean, Seattle's housing is not affordable for your average person. And Peter Schiff, the truth is we don't have a booming economy, and we don't. The fact that there is no fear to me shows that it's more likely that this is not the end of the correction, but the beginning of the bear market, and that this rally is a correction. I mean, it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse, and it's no wonder there's so much violence in this country. See, left organizes response events in 900 cities to protest the firing of Jeff Sessions. If there's one person who I really strongly dislike, it's Jeff Sessions. What a fucking tyrant. So, you know, just be ready for the gun shit to roll out. Be ready for the UN to be on our streets, because it's going to happen. It's going to happen, and there's nothing that's going to stop it except for you and me. The government's not going to stop it. They're going to facilitate it. If the police aren't going to stop it, they're going to help. If the National Guard isn't going to stop it, they too will help. Let me refer you back to Hurricane Katrina. Let me refer to you to last year's floods in Texas, where government individuals working for the government were the main looters, stealing everything that wasn't nailed down. So, you know, it's no wonder that these events are happening. It's no wonder our economy is collapsing. It's no wonder. And by the way, while I'm on the no wonder, did you know that about 50% of the public voted in last year in the last presidential election? I wonder what the turnout for this midterm was. Because if it's less than 50%, those results are illegitimate. The whole thing is illegitimate once the people begin turning their backs in those numbers on the system. The system no longer has legitimacy. And that's exactly what's happening. So, I thought I'd share this first one with you because, like I said, white people will be blamed for all these shootings, even if it's not a white person that's done it. Let me get to his name so I don't fuck it all up. Yes, it's 28-year-old Ian David Long, who opened fire and let off at least 30 shots from a Glock. It was a Glock 45, by the way. And, well, what do we expect? What do we expect? Just understand that more of this very kind of thing is going to happen, and it's going to happen with more frequency, with more bodies, and God only knows, you know, was there a drill for this? Was this even real? And that's the problem here, is we can never tell the difference between a real event and a staged one until way afterwards. So, hope everyone has a good day. Remember, kill the state, live free.